I couldn't even keep up. I was just like, hey, I did my first photo shoot. Hey, I am filming a documentary. Hey, I'm signed to one of the biggest agencies in the world. Hello? Like, what?
Fine light in the beautiful sea. I chose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see, a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive.
My second video on YouTube. What? For those of you guys who are new here, my name's Asante. I'm a model, designer, creative, a friend, sister, daughter, granddaughter, auntie, niece, cousin, human, and then some. All right. So this video is basically going to be a story time / do my makeup with me while I tell you about how I got signed as a model in New York City. And then I'll also be highlighting 3 of the main popular ways that people get scouted / signed to become models as well through my story time. Now, there are so many people that I have to thank for my career. I'll be mentioning a lot of names throughout this story time. They will be real names. I don't think anyone has anything to hide, and I don't have anything to hide. And I basically want to shout out all of the people who really helped me get my start. I'll most likely tag their Instagrams in the description box below, so you can go check out their Instagrams and see what they're up to and just be amazed at how amazing they are. Before I get into the story time, I will be giving this experience advice based on my experiences as a model and from a model's perspective. I'm not a casting director. I'm not an agent. I don't represent an agency. It's just based on my 7 years of modeling experience. And if 7 years of experience is not enough for you, I'll most likely be posting some shorts of some ads or e-com campaigns or anything like that that I've done already. You know, maybe you guys have seen me out in the wild and just didn't know it was me. Well, not in the wild, like your local mall or something. Okay, let's get into it. It's the year 2017, also a nation, and I am an FIT student. It's my first year. I'm in the fashion design program. I don't know if it's still like this. Maybe some FIT heads can tell me, but in the main building, there is an elevator that is only for faculty and staff. Like, it's only for the professors to get up and down to the floors. There's like 6 to 8 floors. So I did not know this. So I was standing at the elevator with a bunch of other faculty and staff, and I think there were students there too, which is why I thought that I could take this elevator. But they're all standing around waiting for the elevator to come to our floor. As I'm waiting, I see one professor looking at me and like continuously looking at me. So I start to, you know, get kind of like wondering like, well, what's this guy looking at? And mind you, this particular professor is like 6'2" or maybe 6'4". I'm actually not sure how tall Ren is, but this professor ended up becoming one of my greatest lifelong friends. A good couple years older than me. Could be my dad. But in this moment, I was like, who the hell is this staring at me?
Get out of here! Help! Police! Police!
And I started to slowly walk away because, you know, I'm a woman in school, I'm young, and I don't know what this 6'something guy wants staring at me, just bold in front of everybody. As I start to creep away, he goes, "Excuse me," and I just freeze. I literally just freeze. I didn't know what to do. So I just froze on the spot, and I'm glad I did because otherwise nothing would have came of me today. So the professor walks over to me, introduced himself as Ronaldo Barnetti, and I'll put his tag below. My great friend, hopefully he sees this video. So yeah, he goes, "Are you a model?" And I damn near laughed in his face. I was so confused. I was just like, I almost turned around like, what? No, I'm not a model. I say no, I'm not a model. And he goes, well, I don't even remember it, but he was just like, well, maybe like you should. I want to talk to you. Maybe we can take some photos because I think you'd be a great model. At that time, I had been out of high school for a bit, and all throughout high school, people would tell me or ask me if I was a model, or tell me to model. But I had come from a background of being bullied for how skinny I am, still am. So I had come from this standpoint of thinking like, you know, my body type is not appealing from a cultural standpoint. Anyway, that's not too much of what I want to get into, but I didn't feel like I looked good. I didn't feel like how I looked could warrant such a question. You know what I mean? So he ends up convincing me to take some images. He's like, you know, come to my office. We'll take some just basic images, and I'm just going to send them to some of my friends and see what the feedback is. I didn't know anything about modeling. Nothing. All I knew was I'd seen some seasons of America's Next Top Model.
I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this.
And that's it. Little did I know that within like a few weeks of this happening, I would eventually get my first ever casting, unsigned, mind you. I wasn't even signed, but I got my first ever casting for Alexander Wang through Ronaldo, through iPhone digitals, and I didn't even know shit about modeling. Like nothing. But yeah, I took some very basic images, digitals on an iPhone, in an office in FIT, and Ronaldo sent them to a few people. This actually brings me to point one. The main way that people get placed or signed with modeling agencies is to be scouted directly by an agent, a scout, or someone who is directly affiliated with an agency. It's really like a right place, right time kind of thing. It is genuinely a stroke of luck kind of thing sometimes, but it is the main way. So for those of you who are watching this video because you want to become a model, you should have done a little bit of research about what it entails and just have like a good enough grasp on what the modeling world is. And using a lot of that information that you found, you just want to make sure that you're not getting scammed. So you really want to pay attention to what's going on in this situation if you are to get scouted. I'm so focused on talking, I haven't even been doing my makeup. Key point, if it is one of those like booths from the mall, that's not your best bet. If there's someone like asking you to pay money, that's not your best bet. Chances are it's not legit. You know, you just want to use the best of your knowledge that you've researched and your own discernment, you know? If it seems too good to be true, that's because I'll most likely do a video on how to make sure that you're being scouted by a legitimate agent or agency. I guess stay tuned for that. But continuing on with the story. So our dear friend Ronaldo sent my images to two people. One woman, her name was Sandy, and another woman, Karen. So Karen Lee, I ended up meeting very shortly after I took those quick iPhone digitals with Ronaldo. And Karen Lee is such a talented and amazing woman. She also used to model. She is actually currently modeling now. And I believe at the time I met her, she worked with or had been working with Elite in New York. So I went to Karen to just have a consultation, and Karen is who kind of gave me a well-rounded breakdown of modeling and what that entailed, because I had no idea. And you know, Karen told me that it's obvious that I had to do a little bit of work, just learn the ropes a little bit. I needed some work. I was a baby model. And Karen actually took the time to explain to me the difference between runway modeling versus commercial modeling and print and editorial and all those things that you kind of need to know and have an idea of. And then we went ahead and set up my very first test shoot with a photographer named timothyrosado, and I'll tag him in the description box below as well, so you can check out his work. Now, that first test shoot was a pretty big investment for me. I don't think I had started working my first job yet. I was just starting college. You know, my mom was a single mom, but I let her know that my first test shoot was $500, and she found the money and she said, go do it. And that test shoot blew my socks off. I can't explain enough. I never imagined that I was capable of looking the way that Timothy made me look, or exhibiting the expressions that I was able to get during that shoot. And I'll maybe post some of the images here. Maybe do a story time actually on that first ever test shoot, and I'll plug it in somewhere in the description as well whenever I get to filming that. So after I had gotten those images taken with Timothy, Ronaldo hit me up again and said, hey, I have some friends who are designers and they're filming, I believe it was a documentary. I don't think it's out yet, but there are some awesome designers here and they need some models to be in the documentary. And I believe I worked with Marissa Wilson, Shauna McGee, and another designer who I don't quite remember, but I will of course put their tags below. So this kind of brings me to my second main point, but it's actually kind of the third on the list of hierarchy when it comes to the three main ways to get signed. So point two, but really third most popular way to get signed is to get some really great images taken and use those to submit to agencies. It's not the most popular way or easy way to get noticed by an agency, but it does count for some. And I have seen people get signed based on submission. So what you want to do is get some really awesome pictures taken. And you want to pay the price to invest in these awesome images. Great photographers are expensive. The thing is, you get to keep those great images forever and you can reuse them as long as they're amazing. Make that photo shoot session count. Look at other models' portfolios or books online just to get an idea of what you want to recreate. Look on Pinterest, and when you book that photo shoot, if you pay $600, $700, $800 for it, make those images count. Moving on with the story. So, oh, I can't talk during this. Okay, one second. Let me just...
Honestly, just a quick beat. I genuinely don't actually have anywhere to go.
I'm just doing this for the sake of the video. Period. I think I can maybe do a video of what kind of images to go for when you're booking your first test shoot and kind of like what images to submit to a modeling agency if that's what you want to do. And it's so straightforward on their websites usually as well in their submission boxes or submission descriptions. But I feel like it wouldn't hurt to show you guys kind of like what they're looking for. Okay, continuing on with the story. So while on set for that documentary, learning and doing my first collaborative videography shoot, I met a few other models on set. And one of them was this more experienced model than me. Her name is Dania, and I'll put her tag as well below. She does amazing things. I think she works in fashion publications. And Dania was like, you are gorgeous, you got it. I really want you to meet this photographer that I know, and he will shoot you for free. Do not even worry about that, because I had already spent $500 on my first test shoot, and I was just like, I don't know if I told her that I was just like unsure about having to pay again, because my mom had just paid $500 for my first, and I know she was not going to try to hear about no $500 more. But Dania was like, girl, when Peter sees you, he's going to shoot you. Don't worry about it. And I'm so grateful because I shot with Peter, and I'll tag him below as well. Amazing photographer. We basically did another test shoot, and Dania styled me. It was so fun. It was a lot less serious than when I did my first test shoot, which I really enjoyed. I'm just so grateful to the both of them for just taking the time to see something in me as well, and everyone else throughout this story. But basically, after the shoot, Peter was like, I really need you to meet this guy that I know. He's a mother agent. I want to send your pictures over. Do I have your permission? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I still don't know what's going on in this. I'm just doing this because it's like, it was healing and it was fun and it was just a new adventure for me. Something that I'd always been told to try but never did. So I was like, yeah, send him to whoever. I don't care. So Peter ended up sending my images over to the owner and director of talentmanmodels, an amazing mother agency, as well as I think they're just an agency as well, but they wanted to sign me immediately. Airplane. All right, I'm done with my makeup, so I'm just gonna keep chatting. This brings me to my second main way. This is the second main way because the third was before. And I'll put this in order at the end so that you guys know, but this is the second actual main way to get placed with a modeling agency is by direct recommendation, which kind of ties into the first, but that's a little bit different because Ronaldo was actually a scout and work directly with agencies, but Peter is a photographer. So this was kind of like a word of mouth thing. You can get recommended by a photographer, even another model. That's a little bit touchy though. I've been seeing some posts recently about models are stingy when it comes to their agents, and models don't want to give other people who are trying to model, they don't want to give out their agent's information to them, which I'll probably make a separate video about the nuance in that and why that's such a tongue-in-cheek thing to do. The key here is that you're being asked, you're being invited, you're being recommended, you are not the one asking. It's a superficial industry. So yeah, shortly after I signed with Talent Man, we got another test shoot in. So I think this was like my third test shoot by now, and I did it with Stephen Bernard, I think that's his last name. I'll tag him below as well. So once we got another test shoot out the way, digitals as well, just simple iPhone digital and some walking videos just outside in the streets of New York with Talent Man. The culmination of the test shoots that I'd done, the documentary and the videos that I took just on iPhone, he used all of that work that I'd done to submit to some agencies in New York, and they all wanted to see me. I think I'll actually do a story time on how that went. You know, separate video. I got videos on videos to make now. I think I said like 5 different separate videos that I'll have to make just in this one video. But carrying on. The agency I did end up signing with was IMG Models. They wanted to sign me on the spot. They offered me the contract before I even walked out of the door, which didn't happen with any of the other 3 agencies that I'd seen. And yeah, that'll also be a different video. So yeah, that is the story on how I became signed in New York City as a model. I want to quickly just say that I would not be here if not for any of the people that I mentioned throughout this video. Thank you all so much. If you do happen to see this, you're so well appreciated and never forgotten. I wake up on random days and think about each and every one of them, and I'm just like, yo, it was like a domino effect, literally. It was one of those things where just one thing was happening after the other and I couldn't even keep up. I was just like, hey, I did my first photo shoot. Hey, I'm filming a documentary. Hey, I'm signed to one of the biggest agencies in the world. Hello? Like, what? Shout out to my team. A lot of very loving and caring individuals looked out for me and helped me just find my path, you know? That is something that I'll never forget and that I'm so grateful for. Yeah. So just to put into perspective and put in a list form somewhere here, all of the information that I just stated, the 3 main ways to get signed as a model anywhere. So the first way, like I said, is to literally be scouted by an agent, by the agency, by someone affiliated with the agency, by a scout, someone who is literally working with the agencies or the agents will reach out to you. I think a lot of scouts like to go out in nightlife in New York, or like they do sometimes scout you at the mall, but it's not like, I'm not gonna say any specific names, but it's not a booth. It's literally like going to be a person or a duo who's out there scouting you, and they're like, hey, we work for insert modeling agency here. We think you have a great look. They'll most likely show you the agency's website or the Instagram, or they'll give you their email. Usually won't ask you for your information unless you're like wanting to know more, but they'll like give you the information, and it's up to you to decide like whether you want to be in contact with them or not, because they're not going to chase you down like that, babe. You gotta want it. So the second way is more so like networking and being recommended by a photographer or another model. That's usually another common way that people start modeling and end up becoming signed, is that they've done a photo shoot and maybe it's your first time dabbling in modeling and wanting to get your feet wet and jump in, and the photographer thinks that you really have got it, and they will do the due diligence by recommending you to a scout or to an agency, and that's how you can get signed. And the last way, but also a common way to get signed, is submitting online, or even submitting through Instagram DM. Like if there are casting directors that are posting that they're looking for models or looking for unsigned talent, that's a way. But with doing that, you need to have great images taken. So that's why I kind of mentioned it in the way that I did. It's a little bit out of order, but here it is now in order. 1, 2, 3. If you are starting from zero, you're just thinking about modeling and you are wanting to get your feet wet, you want to get some really great images taken so that you have something to work with by the time you get started. And it's not the end of the world if maybe you do get scouted before you have even gotten any images yet, or maybe you are like me, you got scouted and didn't even know crap about modeling, so of course you didn't have any images. Your agency will end up taking care of that for you. But if you are starting from square one, you need to get you need to go to the photographers. Go. That brings my first video to an end. No, this is my second video. Wow. That brings my second video to an end. I hope you guys learned something. I basically did a very soft, quick beat. This is usually my everyday go-to. I don't like to put too much makeup on, and I don't even have anywhere to go right now, so I'm not doing a whole beat. I will tag all of the makeup products that I used down below in the description box, and keep in mind that I am a model slash influencer, so some of the links below are actually my own personal affiliate links, and I do make a commission off of any of the products that you guys decide to purchase if you'd like to support me as well as get some cute makeup goodies. Thanks so much, and stay tuned for the next video, one of the ones that I mentioned in here. Bye!